Hello everybody, my name is Lycan. Welcome back to another episode of Shonen Monday. This has very quickly become one of my favorite series to record, and I'm very excited to get into it. Cue the music. Okay, if you enjoy, make sure to hit that subscribe button because there's going to be more content coming on this channel soon. And if you enjoy, you should subscribe because we do this every Monday. Now without further ado, let's get Chainsaw Man out of the way. I already talked about this one in the last video, but I don't think there's going to be a new Chainsaw Man chapter this week. Oh shit, there actually is going to be a new Chainsaw Man chapter this week. Well, I guess that means you're going to see this on Tuesday again, because I'm not just going to review the Chainsaw Man chapter next week when the whole publication is on break, so it would literally be only the Chainsaw Man chapter. So you're seeing this on Tuesday. Hi, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, Lycan, you want to go ahead and take it away and talk about the Chainsaw Man chapter, perhaps? Alright, thanks for the W pass off, Sunday Lycan. It's Tuesday Lycan here. I'm really disappointed because I just went to see Avatar 3 and it fucking sucked. Luckily, something good did happen today, and that's the new Chainsaw Man chapter. This one's really good. This is a solid A-tier Chainsaw Man chapter. Played out nicely, you have Asa literally using the moon. Okay, how are those Sukuna power scalers feeling right now? We should maybe give them a wellness check, because I have a feeling that, we might be looking at some Kurt Cobains all across the world. But this was a really good chapter, and it's a solid A tier. Denji ate the leg devil, which is really funny. There's been lots of memes about that on Twitter already. Go ahead and put them up on screen. And yeah, I'm going to hand it back to you, Sunday Lycan. Solid Chainsaw Man chapter. No complaints. Alright, thank you very much, Tuesday Lycan. Now, Sunday Lycan is going to go ahead and put the Chainsaw Man chapter away. Last week's Chainsaw Man chapter was good. I think I gave it an A tier. Now, let's talk about Kagura... no. We're going to go right from left. I want to save the best ones for last. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about Sakamoto Days, chapter 242. This one was not as strong as last week. Akira showed up again. That's great. It's always good to see her. She's one of the more interesting and nuanced characters in the manga. She's the only one that doesn't really have pretty straightforward writing and actually has a nuanced and flexible character. So I do enjoy every time she shows up because usually she does something interesting. So Akira in this chapter, that's easy bonus points for me. However, it's definitely not an A tier. To me, this is a B tier. But you know what? It might also be low A tier because for once I'm actually interested to see where it's going next week. So you know what? We're going to bump this up, but this is low A tier though. Like this is just teetering out of B grade. Torres is also going to join the Sakamoto squad, which is pretty cool. I mean, I like him. I love a gambler. I'm a gambling addict myself, okay? If any of you have ever seen my main channel, link in the description. It's not gambling, by the way. It's gaming. Sorry. I know I kind of led you on. Now, Ichi the Witch. Wow, I was shitting on Ichi the Witch last week, okay? But Ichi the Witch really made a comeback this week. I will say this is by far, the best chapter in this arc. And it's this arc is like making a comeback literally because of this chapter. This has been the most boring arc in the story so far, and it's literally almost made me lose interest in the manga as a whole. However, that changed today because we got some Descara's backstory, and her dead brother is back from the dead. And this was just a really banging chapter. We got to see her acquiring a bunch of different magics. We got to see her as a kid and kind of a little bit more of her reason for fighting. And this was an A-tier chapter. This was better than Sakamoto Days 100%. And I just realized that means that literally every single manga chapter that came out this week was really, really good. So, spoiler alert, Modulo, it's been an S tier basically every week since this fight has started. I can't believe we're going to have to wait 2 whole weeks to see how this concludes, but we get more of Mahoraga versus Dabura, and we get more of Tsurugi versus Maru. Also, here's the cover of the first volume. Looks really good. I hope they follow the sibling theme and that the second cover is going to be Maru and Cross. That would be absolutely amazing. Cover, absolute cinema. This chapter, absolute cinema. Now, Mahoraga putting up a surprisingly good fight against Dabura. I will say, Dabura has figured out how his technique works though, and it seems like it might swing in Dabura's favor very soon. But for now, Mahoraga is putting in the work. Now switch back to Tsurugi versus Maru. Tsurugi is surprisingly bodying Maru, but then Maru literally has like his schizophrenia talk to him. Like his third eye speaks to him and literally says like, bro, lock in, what are you doing? And he gets up and immediately turns the tides on Tsurugi. The way he does that is with his curse technique, which seems to be something related to gravity manipulation. That's apparently how their spaceship works. Him and Cross's shared technique. So I'm very intrigued to see where this is going. You already know I have my stocks on Yuji. I believe that Yuji's going to show up maybe in the next chapter. And I'm still on team Yuka doesn't die. I just can't see it happening. Especially now that the turns are getting tabled. The tables are getting turned on Tsurugi. I think Tsurugi's going to die. I think Yuka's going to survive. I'm all in on that. Now, let's move on to Centuria. Now, this was another insane lore drop, and I actually put this one above Modulo this week for a lot of reasons. I think the lore we get here is going to be very important to the story going forward. We get to learn a lot about gods, how they work. We get to learn about the witches' cults' kind of motivations, and we also learn something very, very important about Diana in this one. So, essentially, you had that the god that the witches' cult prayed to, she descended into a human body. Once you descend into a human body, you can't go back. No, you can't. Gods can become humans. They can incarnate as humans, but humans cannot become gods. So she comes here, she's trapped, she helps the witches, and now the king's got her locked up like Adam in his fucking basement. Now, I still think it's Elstree with him. She's clever enough to ask the question, well, I can't help but notice this thing doesn't have any insides. Well, the answer to that question is the insides have been spread out basically across the kingdom's top fighters, one of which is this new girl. It starts with an L. Good lord, I can't remember it. The new one that could see the goat. Now, she's got one of the parts, and Diana, the most important piece, has the heart. So now we officially know that the reason Diana is so important and the reason the witches want to sway her to their side is that Diana seems to be carrying the heart of their god, literally a piece of the god. Now, honestly, for me, this creates a lot of answers, but it also creates a lot of questions. You know, Diana was born from just a normal-ass person. How the hell did she come across this heart? When did it happen? Lots of questions about this. Hopefully they'll be answered, and it's not just she has it, suck it up kind of thing. But it's strange. It's obviously something to do with the sacrificial ritual, right? But I guess we'll know later. Either way, this was a really, really good chapter of Centuria. Really fucking good chapter of Centuria. And now, move on to Kagurabachi. This one. It was... To me, these are equal. You guys already know I give Kagurabachi S tier every week. Now, we actually get a lot of stuff in this chapter. First of all, Samura fans, congratulations, he did not get bodied on the first attack, but the writing on the wall here is pretty explicit. Soga literally tells him, like, buddy, I've got one of the only things in the world that can kill you. This isn't going to turn out well for you. Samura's like, yeah, I know. So, they basically already told us he's going to die. But he did not die last chapter. I predicted that. I mean, I think basically anybody with a brain that has consumed Shonen before predicted that. So he's alive. We get a little bit more about him and kind of how he parallels Chihiro, and also him basically just telling Chihiro, like, yo, I'm Unk, you know what I mean? I'm Unk. I bought your bib. He's like, he's going full Unk mode on Chihiro, and he makes it clear that he doesn't want to kill him. He's literally just like, Chihiro, back off. But at the same time, I've got to kill all of the evildoers, and that includes Akuri, who was involved with the Sazanamis. So he's literally just like, anybody that's evil has to die. And to me, Soga's kind of, thought process represents a more extreme version of Chihiro, which I find to be very interesting. they sort of mirror each other. Soga is like Chihiro, basically further down his path if he's lost control a little bit. And so I think it'll be important for Chihiro to reel that in before it gets too extreme. And meanwhile, Shiba, Fraud Watch, once again. I mean, what is bro doing? Chihiro's out there fighting literal katana Hitler, and he's just sitting here like, oh my god, I sense the, like, bro, get out there and help, what are you doing? Now, the way it ends, we're going into the next probably final stage of the fight. Chihiro says, I'm not going to run away, I gotta at least try to body this guy. It's not going to happen, we all know it's not going to happen. Samura's like, yeah, I'm going to fight him, you know, let's get the smoke. Listen, these guys are going to get smoke, and it's going to be bad. They're going to face some consequences. Samura's going to die. Chihiro probably losing the N10. Maybe. We'll see. But either way, I don't... It's not... No. Nope. It's not going to turn out well for them, I'm telling you. There's no way... I guarantee you Samura does not make it out of this. I've been saying this. He's dying. He's dead in the next 2 chapters. If it's not the next chapter, it's the chapter after that. He's dying. I'm telling you. I'll continue pushing the agenda. I'll continue pushing the agenda forever. Even if he doesn't die in this fight, I'm going to say he's dying later. It's not going to be an Uruha situation. He's not coming back. He's dying and he's staying dead, okay? This has been the Shonen review for this week. I'm going to attempt to use the time that the publication is taking off to catch up on some more manga and add them onto this list. If you have any recommendations, drop them down below. I'll read them over my Christmas holidays. And, you know, I've been reading One Piece, video about that, hopefully coming soon. I am planning on it. But for now, I love you all. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.